Pacific region covers a third of the world's surface, much of it by the Pacific Ocean. As people living in this region in small developing states, we are culturally traditional, diverse, geographically dispersed, economically fragile, and acutely vulnerable to climate changes, global warming, and rising seas. The Pacific Judicial Strengthening Initiative, PJSI for short, is designed to address the challenges those issues present to the rule of law, the delivery of justice, and good governance, particularly the limited capacity of the courts to administer accessible justice efficiently and effectively. This problem is particularly acute for the victims of family and sexual violence, which is endemic across the region. With the initiative, we are addressing those challenges and their marked exacerbation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In early 2020, we quickly re-evaluated our regional and individual needs and priorities, translating them into cohesive, responsive, and remotely delivered activities. We are deeply grateful to the New Zealand government who generously fund the initiative. Their support and the efficiencies of collaborating with the Federal Court of Australia has enabled us to measurably improve region-wide court performance and the experience of justice for our peoples.
With judges unable to travel and sit, the pandemic closed or caused delay in many of the courts. Compounded by restrictions on human movement and distancing, courts have been presented with unprecedented obstacles to the provision of justice. This is being felt most acutely among the escalating numbers of women reportedly suffering violence. The unique court-to-court model of our development partnerships significantly reinforces judicial independence and good governance. Coupled with the mutual respect developed over a decade of collaborations, we were quickly able to identify and treat the challenges caused by the pandemic, while also generating the resilience that we as a region need to see us positively through this turbulent chapter.
The pandemic necessitated changes for us all. For courts to remain open, they immediately needed to decentralise proceedings to be conducted remotely. Through a series of trainings, advice about court rules, software, resources and webinars, the initiative is enabling Pacific courts to implement the necessary and effective counterbalances to remain accessible. Committed also to ensuring that those most at risk of harm can secure justice, we're also collaborating with our partner courts to deliver swift and adequate protection for those who fear or suffer violence and abuse. As the fluidity of the pandemic presents evolving realities, partner courts continue to adapt rapidly and successfully, and we continue to be more and better connected than ever.
The Pacific Judicial Strengthening Initiative has enabled our courts to continue providing justice during the pandemic, particularly to those who have suffered harm. Initially, the pandemic disrupted court business, and we were apprehensive that new technology and remote delivery would cause confusion and difficulties. But we are finding that many cases are now being heard more accessibly and expediently than ever before. Changing the way we are hearing cases has been easier and smoother than we had expected, and we now have the capacity to reach our outer island residents when the pandemic is over. We are transforming the way we understand and perform our role. We are and will continue to use the learning approaches, tools, and resources we have collaborated with the Pacific Judicial Strengthening Initiative to produce, and we will continue to promote justice in our region that is accessible, fair, efficient, and responsive to the needs of the communities we serve.